Welcome back to the Just Build Baby studio. You're listening to the BuildX Podcast, your ultimate guide to creating exceptional homes, innovative living spaces, and staying informed on all aspects of residential building technology. I'm your host, Buzz Artiano. Whether you're planning a renovation, building from scratch, or simply passionate about quality craftsmanship, you're in the right place. Today, we're excited to have David Mulcahy in studio with us. David is president and COO of ohDEER South Shore and co-founder of Go Scoops with over 11 years of experience in the industry. Dave, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Buzz. I appreciate it.
Super excited to have you here. We've known each other for 7 years-ish.
Yeah, around that.
Yeah, we've built a few projects together, and I appreciate the work. Today, though, it's all about you.
I appreciate that.
All about David from ohDEER and Go Scoopers. So if you wouldn't mind just taking us back how you got started in these businesses. I know that ohDEER is a newer business for you, so maybe go back to prior to ohDEER, what you were doing and how you decided to become ohDEER.
Yeah, so it all started in 2014. I was working at a family business that my father had, running a heating oil company, and I found out that it was a dead end. There was no future in it for me. I wasn't going to be able to achieve my goals. And my father knew that, and he had to have a hard conversation with me and said, you got to go figure out something you want to do. And for 3 years prior to that, I had been watching two mosquito tick companies and deer control companies grow in the same neighborhood in a small town in Metro West. And I said, there's something about this. One of them shuts down in the winter, one continues going with deer control. When I got presented with the opportunity to move on and find something I really wanted to do, first thing was, let me talk to the guys at ohDEER. That was 2014. Had a conversation with the founder, Kurt, and his wife, Colleen, and listened to them. Brought my fiance, my wife now, Carrie, to the meeting.
Shout out to Carrie.
And I said, we're not married yet, but if we're going to do this, it's going to be a big change. I'm gainfully employed, and I'm going to be unemployed. So let's understand what this is. And within 2 hours, we realized that there's a huge opportunity in the marketplace for an all-natural tick and mosquito and deer control company. But it would mean I have to leave my job. I need to sell my house in Metro West, and I need to move into my in-laws' summer house, get married. And this sounds like a great plan in future, right?
Yeah,
Carrie?
yeah. I like it.
And that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And that was 2014, and I haven't turned back. I did move out of my in-laws' house very quickly.
Yeah, yeah. So for those of you listening, that's called going all in.
Yeah.
Right?
That was a...
No, wait. That's called going all in, right? Burn your bridges.
100%.
Right? Burn the boats. Not burn the bridges. Burn the boats. I'm going all in. It's either I'm going up or I'm going to flames.
Give me until I'm 30, and if it doesn't work out, I'll go find a real job.
Yeah. So you were how old at that age?
I was about to turn 26.
Okay.
And I was getting married 2 months later.
Oh, so you had a wedding date already.
Oh, yeah. It was, house on the market. It was nuts.
All right. I like it. See, that's what I was talking about. I didn't know that story. So, all right. So now you've started. And how did you decide on this location down here?
So when we were presented with ohDEER and becoming part of the franchise system, because it's a franchise system based out of Wayland, Mass., I had two options, the North Shore and the South Shore. And the simplest thing is my in-laws have a house in Plymouth. I'm moving into their house.
There you go.
That is the clean description of it. And I had to go in and talk to my father-in-law and say, so here's the deal. I'm moving, quitting my job, and moving into your house. How's that sound? The conversation actually went really well. And we're still good friends.
There you go.
Still around.
So again, for people listening, right? So sometimes circumstances dictate which direction you're going in, right? So if they had had a house on the North Shore, you would have been on the North Shore.
I'd be on the North Shore and dealing with everything that I deal with up there.
Right.
Pleased we landed on the South Shore.
Understood. Well, I'm happy I met you because I would have never met you if you were up there.
Right.
So it's interesting when you think about all the things that take you to where you are, right? And at the time, seemed like, oh, I don't have a choice, or I do have a choice, which one is right. And sometimes it's a long time before you know if you made the right choice.
So my house was in Marlboro. I didn't even realize I could ask the founders, can I just have like Marlboro, Northboro, Southboro? Didn't even dawn on me because they were servicing that area. And I was like, I don't want to touch their area.
Right.
So I'll just go. And it's led to a whole new world experience and, built a great community down here.
Yeah. No, you've done a great job. Full disclosure, David does my yard, and we're happy with it.
And you do our building. So
That's right.
It works out
it
well.
Works out. So, so now we're a few years into it, and to kind of take me to where that goes, because I don't think I met you until 2018.
Yeah, about 2018.
So you were working somewhere else. You had your shop somewhere else prior to this.
Yeah, so I was the entrepreneur running everything out of my basement with parking in Pembroke, running.
So remote parking for your trucks.
Remote parking, 5-10 minutes away from my house. I'd see my crew a couple times a week. I'd be in contact with them all the time,
Sure.
but a couple times a week. And we were managing South Shore, which is inside 495, south of Boston, essentially. And we were managing all of Cape Cod. So
Wow.
we serviced from Pembroke all the way through Eastham.
Yeah. So when you started, it was literally just you sitting in a room on a phone and a computer pounding away.
Yeah, one person in the truck. That's what it was. And it was, how do we make ourselves look like we're everywhere?
Yeah. Well, you've done a good job.
So
So fast forward to today. How many trucks you're running, makeup, et cetera? What does that look like today?
So right now, based out of Carver, we've got essentially a commercial property there. We run our full office team, and then we run our trucks out of there. We also have a spot on Cape. So the number for Cape is we've got 4 vehicles on Cape every single day. South Shore, we have 22 tick and mosquito trucks, and we have 3 deer control trucks. And we have a technical team, an office team of somewhere between 35, fluctuating, depending on what's going on.
Yeah, so a long way from one guy sitting in his basement on his desk on his computer.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one was more stressful at sometimes.
It's just a different kind of stress.
It's a different type of stress, but what's great now is the opportunities we can provide.
Yeah.
And with one truck, one guy, you don't give those opportunities.
So now you also have another business called Ghost Scoopers.
That's correct.
Right? And so...
Let's get down and dirty on this one.
Yeah. So I remember 3 years ago, all of a sudden there was a truck in the parking lot, a pickup truck, and it said Ghost Scoopers. And obviously there's a little picture of a dog on there. And I'm like, okay, well, that means they're going to go pick up dog poop. So, is that like your baby? You invented the logo, the whole thing? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so this concept came to us in about 2019, and I tabled it for 2 years. It wasn't the right time, craziness with growing the business, ohDEER. And when I saw I could provide an opportunity to one of my employees, Zach, who's our general manager at ohDEER, it just made natural sense to say, let's get into another home service business that's in the recurring monthly recurring model, and let's see how we can do it with a small team and what we're going to need to do. And we went after branding first, services, and growth after that. But we wanted to make it be a really solid brand that could be recognizable anywhere, with the hopes and dreams that it could eventually be either a licensing program or a franchise system across the country.
Awesome. But that's you made the logo, you made the name, you made the whole thing.
Yep. So we went back research, phone numbers, trademarks. We wanted to be completely different, and we didn't want to be punny. In the pet waste industry, it's all about puns of waste. And we tried to use something that was, how are we quiet in someone's yard, but very professional, doing and telling them what we're doing. And Ghost is actually Zach's dog. So It is a depiction of his dog.
All right. So real world.
Yep, real world, and then we just got it, characterized.
Interesting. So let's pivot a little bit to my favorite subject, obviously accessory dwelling units and houses in general.
Yeah.
Right? And talk about why it's important to use all natural, what is it?
So it's all natural deer control and then tick and mosquito control.
Right. So how important it is to use all natural products to control ticks, mosquitoes,
and deer.
And deer.
So
So tell me about, I don't think I understood. So when you say control the deer, what does that mean?
Yeah, okay, so this is perfect. You've got a client of yours that puts in an accessory dwelling unit.
Mm-hmm.
They finish the inside, it looks great. They get the lawn done. They go and they put plantings throughout the property. They may want some vegetation between the main house and their house.
Sure.
Right? Some arborvitae, something like a green hedge. They invest the money in that. 2 months later, they can now see through that investment to the main house or the accessory dwelling unit.
Because the deer have eaten it.
Because the deer have eaten it. And the way that deer work is they eat in a typewriter fashion across a hedge. So they cut in perfect lines. And that's why you drive on the South Shore and you see arborvitaes that look like a lollipop up top, and then you can see through the bottom 6 feet of it. That's what's happening.
Really?
Yes. So the arborvitaes, your dark greens, arborvitaes, rhododendron, yews, are your typical winter plants that they're going to feed on.
Got it.
They're natural, they're hardy throughout the year, and then you have your springtime, summertime plants that flower, light greens, hosta, hydrangeas, roses. They're going to feed on those during the spring and summer. So this isn't just one service. It's year-round, depending on what you have on your property.
Sure.
So when you go and you do construction, accessory dwelling units are nice because you're not deforesting the whole area. You're taking just an area that's pretty much cleared on the property.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. And the deer now are like, oh, that's different. Let me go see what's going on. Your backyard is their home.
Right.
So you've just disturbed it, but now you've entered in all these new plants for them. It's a buffet.
Sure.
They're going to walk up, they're going to eat it, and now you're walking out going, what the heck happened? So for the, people who look at it as in like an insurance, where we come in and we'll service, we're not going to replace them for you, but we're going to service and control the feeding. Are you still going to see them on your property? Yes. But you're going to see your damage go down.
So how do we control the deer then? What does that look like?
Yeah. So the way the products work is they're granular and they're liquid. So they don't like the smell and they don't like the taste.
Okay. So but again, these are all natural products.
All natural products. The way we make it real simple to convey is it's a fight or flight syndrome. If you walk into your house and you smell smoke, you're gonna leave. Same concept. We're introducing a new smell into their property, their house. They come in, they don't like it, they smell, taste, they move on. It wears with time, so we have to come back and reservice on a regular basis.
Okay. So that takes care of the deer.
Yes.
Now what about the ticks?
So ticks and mosquitoes.
Because ticks are a problem.
Ticks are a problem and they're not going away.
They're only getting worse, it seems to me.
Correct. They're getting smaller. They've got different diseases.
Yep.
So what are we doing with that? We're doing 2 products as well, a spray and a granular. The spray is the original control product. We're going to spray the perimeter of the property. We're going to spray around the house, high traffic area, swing set, patio, pool, under a deck, anywhere moisture can gather. That's going to give us the control of what's there and kill the future that are currently there. We then have to combat the reintroduction of, let's say, ticks. We have a granular product that we can put on the perimeter of the property. When the ticks cross over that, over the next month or so, it breaks down and it gets picked up on them, and that kills them as well.
Okay, so both of these products actually actively kill. It doesn't repel them, it kills them.
They actively kill.
Nice. And how does it kill them if it's all natural?
So best way to describe it is it's natural suffocants. The product gets on their exoskeleton, they absorb it, and it essentially suffocates them.
Okay.
If you have got mosquito larvae in water, it breaks the water tension, it sinks them.
So the mosquito control, we're actually drowning them.
That can drown them if you have standing water.
Sure.
If they're in the arborvitae or under a deck, it's going to be contact.
Okay. So the product does both.
The product does both. The big thing with the all naturals we use is they're non-transferable.
Which means?
This is the detail that everyone is like, what happens? So we hit a plant and it's wet. Mosquito lands on it. It's wet. It can kill that mosquito. So let's talk about pollinators. A bee comes by a wet plant, sits on the plant, it picks it up, flies back to the hive. It cannot transfer it to the hive. So the hive will not be taken out. That bee may or may not be killed.
Okay, so it might kill the bee.
It might kill that one, but it's not taken out of hive.
So when you say it's wet, it means you just applied it.
Just applied it.
What happens when it's dry?
Nothing.
Does it still kill the mosquitoes?
Doesn't kill. It's done its job at that point. So once it's dried, it's done its job.
Okay. So mosquito spray has to be actively sprayed while the mosquitoes are active to kill them.
Actively sprayed on a property that could have mosquito populations.
So you wipe, it's an instantaneous kill.
It's a
and
kill.
Once it dries, there's no more active ingredient.
No more active ingredient. What we've done there is we've broken the breeding pattern.
Got it.
And now they have to be reintroduced and rebred on the property.
Right. And then, but the tick control is continuous.
So the granulars will be continuous. Yes.
Right. But the liquid, the oil, once it dries, it stops working.
Yep.
Okay.
And
then what about the deer spray?
The deer spray wears with the smell, and the taste is still there. So that wears with time, rain, water, sun. So
if you have a really dry session, it may last longer than something where it's raining a lot or whatever.
So the way we work is deer control works on a 3-week program.
3?
So we're servicing every 3 weeks.
Okay.
Tick and mosquito works on an every 4-week, 28-day cycle. In between any of our services, if you need or have an issue, we'll do a respray at no charge. It's simple.
Okay.
So
I'm on the yard. I'm getting, I'm like, gee, there's a lot of mosquitoes. They just came 2 weeks ago. I call you up. You dispatch your truck. Reasonable period of time.
And you're going
to spray again.
Yeah. If you can't enjoy more time outside, then we need to come to a respray.
Got it. Now, what happens if, and this is a question I have, I'm treating my property, but my neighbor's not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
How, is that help? Am I still helping myself by treating my property?
Anything's better than nothing. So when we're looking at a average property, which is, let's say, a half acre, you're getting a really good control. You're able to spray enough on the property and on the barrier around it, whether it's grass, trees, whatever it might be in that area, that you're able to kill a lot that's right there. You've got control for a solid month at that point. Where we see more resprays or where we see clients that have a bigger respray issue is on an 8,000 square foot property that has no vegetation at all, and they're next to their neighbor, and there's another house right next to it, and there's another where there's not a lot that we can spray.
Right.
So the mosquitoes are able to come in from anywhere onto your property.
So you'd literally have to stand there and wait for them to show up to kill them.
Right. The other thing is what's your expectation? When we look at the whole thing is we're a control. What's your expectation? If you're expecting 0 mosquitoes, no one, whether you're using a chemical and all natural, are ever going to achieve your goals.
Right.
So let's set the expectations from the start and really be able to determine how do we move forward on this, and what can we do? That's why if you can't enjoy more time outside, we'll do a respray for you.
Okay. So let's talk about the process. So I've just bought a new house, or I've fired my other vendor, or whatever or I've never thought about it. I'm watching this podcast and I'm like, gee, that sounds good. I want to do it. What does that look like? We call you up. What happens next?
So there's going to be 2 different processes. Let's talk deer control first. Deer control, I've got deer that are actively feeding, or I have plants I'm concerned about. We're going to set up a deer assessment for you. We're going to come out, walk the property with you.
Okay, so you're going to come do a site walk for that.
Site walk, understand your needs, understand the neighborhood, understand what's actually happening and what could happen in the future.
Okay, and is there a fee for that site walk?
0 fee for that.
All right, so I'm going to call you up. Hey, the deer are eating my bushes. You're going to book up time to come. You're going to meet with me, or you're going to go on your own?
So our goal is that we meet with you. That doesn't always happen.
Right.
But the goal is we meet with you and we give you an assessment. You understand what could happen, what can't. And
so we walk the whole yard. You say, hey, this, that, and the other thing. And then from there, you're going to tell me how much?
Correct. We're going to tell you
on the spot?
We'll tell you on the spot. We'll also send you a report of photos of what's actually happening.
Okay, so this is a real assessment. It's just not you looking and saying, yeah, I think it's about this.
No, sometimes, where you were and where you started isn't where it's going to take you, and we now provide photos.
Okay. All right. So then what about deer and mosquito and tick control? How does that
Tick
work?
and mosquito control, we can do it all over the phone.
Sorry. So you have aerial view of my property, GIS, whatever it is, you look up, you say, hey, we have half acre. You have recent aerial photographs to see what my yard is.
Correct. Now, here's the big debate that can happen is you're a homeowner, you own an acre, but half of it's woods and it's not developed. We're using the usable square footage of your property. So we're doing the tree line, the fence line, whatever's that usable. So if
so you don't spray into the woods then?
We'll spray 8 to 10 feet into the woods, but
That's
we're not going into the woods.
Interesting.
We have a hose and reel system. So there's two different methods in the mosquito world. There's backpack spraying, which is a fine mist that blows out on a property, or there's a hose and reel saturation method. That's what we run with. So we're standing edge of the grass or tree line with a hose attached to a tank on a truck, and we can be spraying 20 feet into the woods. Typically 8 to 10 is going to give you the barrier we need.
Yep.
But there's a lot of homes on the South Shore that are 2 acre properties, and they're only really cleared a half acre.
Got it.
And that includes the house, the driveway.
Sure. So again, that's all done over the phone. There's no charge for that estimate.
Correct.
And then you're going to tell me it's X amount per month, and you're going to start me on that cycle.
Yeah, so we're going to understand what your needs are. If your needs are, you got a new puppy, you've got young kids, and you're in a wooded area, we're talking with that Control Plus, the granular and the spray. If your kids are older, you're not in the woods, you have no puppy, you're concerned about ticks, but mosquitoes are the main, we're going with Control, so you can enjoy the property, enjoy the pool, that type of stuff.
So it's adjustable based on my situation. So there's a whole questionnaire that goes into this.
Questionnaire that we go into, we want to understand what you need. We're going to educate you on what the process is, what the expectation is. As soon as you say yes to the program, whether it's over the phone or online through an email system, 1 to 3 business days we'll be servicing your property.
Nice. And obviously credit card on file, and just go from there.
Credit card on file makes it easy for you, the homeowner. You don't have to miss a payment. You don't have to worry about it. We'll come out set time of year.
Interesting. So, and then tell me about Ghost Scoopers. How does the pricing work for that?
So that's done by, So Ghost Scoopers is done by pet count. How many dogs do you have?
Okay.
And then area, a small area. We have it pretty dialed in that you can go in that program, you can go online and get a price. GhostScoopers.com, you put in your information, you will get a price per your house.
Right. Okay. So that's kind of self-priced.
Instantaneous. The reason we did that in the way that is sometimes it's an embarrassing subject that you don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't want to pick up the dog poop, or you don't, you're embarrassed to talk about it.
Right.
You got a life to run. You love your pet.
Right.
But you just need this thing taken care of, because the next time you weed whack, you don't want it in your face.
All right, 100%. Interesting. So what industry trends are you seeing in these? So we'll start with Ghost Scoopers. What industry trends are you seeing in that line of business?
So industry trends in Ghost Scoopers, a lot of people are getting into it because it seems to be a low entry. But the recurring nature is what's difficult and trips people up, because vacations, time off, side gigs, rain, if you don't have it set up and you don't have the employees in place, you're not going to be able to stay on schedule.
Right.
We are seeing within the pet waste industry that people are getting into tick and mosquito control. It's a natural add-on for them. We're not seeing a lot of it. We don't see a lot of it in the Northeast. It's more in the Texas, Florida, southern part of the U.S.
Okay. So what industry trends are you seeing on the tick and the deer side and the mosquito side?
So for the deer side, we're seeing more companies try and get into it. Here's the problem, is they're not specializing in it, and they're landscapers doing it as an add-on.
Got it.
That's how ohDEER started. Kurt was a landscaper for years, and it was always an add-on service they'd offer to the clients. And then when they couldn't, they always forgot about it, and he left that career and changed. It was like, this is a whole industry we can get into. So we're seeing folks try and be that one-stop shop, where we come in as, we'll be that one-stop shop for the landscape management company. You just sub it to us. You don't have to worry about it.
Right.
It's on our schedules that our trucks are rolling every day. Because if you're trying to manage hardscape,
it's too much. Yeah. And it's a different type of team member that does that work.
Correct.
Completely. You're not going to get a guy that mows lawns to go spray. You're not going to get a guy, mason, say, hey, today you're spraying for ticking. He's just not going to want to do it, or he's not going to be good at it, or all of the above. Right?
We're seeing more, the more development there is around, the less wooded area. That means the deer concentration's higher in the area, and everything that we like to plant is what they like to eat.
Yeah, so you put on a good buffet.
Correct. on the mosquito side of things, tick and mosquito side of the trends is all natural's not going away. Millennials, Gen Zs, they want an all natural. They want to be able to use their property, not be told that they have to turn ACs off, go inside, leave the property. all of this extent. They want to be able to use a product that's safe for the environment, safe for their family.
Right. And again, the product is mostly essential oils.
It's essential oils.
Which means what?
So it's oils essentially brought in from plants, broken down, and then we add it to water, and we then apply it to your property.
So it's water-based, all natural oils produced from plants.
Correct.
And then they're mixed accordingly depending on what you're treating.
Correct.
Okay. So there's no dyes or additives or anything added to it?
No dyes, no additives. They're all considered FIFRA 25B products, which is a government list of products that can be used for all natural.
Okay. Now, are there people that are allergic to any of these oils?
So allergies came up, for me, my first allergy client was probably in 2017. And it was a hypoallergenic kid. And it was, how are we going to work with this? So what we'll do is we'll provide potentially a sample to the family and let them, we'll give them labels, we'll provide the sample. They actually bring it to their doctors and they say, hey, can we use this? And then we talk to the doctors. We have talked to doctors about, this is the percentage that we might be using on the property. And there are typically some rules that we guide by, shut the windows, the reasonable precautions.
Common sense.
The common stuff that you would ask. So it happens, but no dyes at all in the products.
Okay, that's good. So obviously we want to treat, ticks especially for a reason, right? Probably mosquitoes less, but ticks are a big one. So why do we want to treat for ticks? Everybody knows about Lyme disease, but I think there's a lot of other transmittable diseases from ticks now.
There's a lot of other transmittable diseases that are breaking their way into Massachusetts. Here's the deal. When we talk to clients, they're already concerned enough about it.
Sure.
Where we don't have to do a fear factor. The news, we do watch the news and we hear that the tick diseases and tick awareness is being brought earlier and earlier in the spring and later in the fall. So we want to make sure that we are aware of them. And the best way to control ticks is take reasonable precaution. So you're going to do service, you're going to get serviced. You're also going to do a daily tick check and make sure that you don't have any ticks actually embedded on you. A couple quick tips on that. Keep a lint roller at the entry of your door. And when you come in, lint roll your pants.
That's a good idea. I never thought of that.
Keep it in the truck when you guys are doing site inspections. And if you're so inclined, throw all your clothes in the dryer when you get home. Turn them on for 20 minutes high. That'll cook all the ticks that are there.
It will. Okay.
Yes. The real conversation with
fried ticks.
Yeah, fried ticks. The conversation with ticks got bigger over the years because Lyme became less of the bullseye. And then, well, I have fever, I've got chills, I've got this. Well, it looks like Alzheimer's. There's like a lot of stuff that it can be.
Yeah.
Not a doctor, I never say I'm going to be a doctor. But the gamut of what it can present is a lot more. And it's the new diseases that are coming in and how quickly. Typically, a tick bite will transfer a disease in, say, 24, 48 hours. There are some diseases that can be transferred in 15 minutes. Wow. Once bit. So when we look at that, it's a big concern. When we look at mosquito control, Massachusetts...
Before we get off on that, so just for the audience listening, so if you do find a tick on you, in my opinion, you should put it in a Ziploc bag.
Yes.
And you should ship it away and get it tested.
Buzz, beat me to the punchline.
Okay, because I recently had one this thing was tiny.
Pen.
It was like a pen mark on my elbow. And all of a sudden I was scratching and I looked down and there was a little teeny tick. And the thing was tiny, but it was dug in. And I took that off and put it in a Ziploc bag. And that spot itched like there was no tomorrow. And I said, man, this is bad. So I shipped it off to UMass Amherst.
Yep. And
with my check. And in 48 hours-ish, I did the whole gamut. I did all the tests you can possibly do. And thankfully, it all came back negative. So, it's expensive. That was a couple $100, I think, with everything. But
I do have a code. The next time that happens to you, I've got a discount code for those.
All right. Shout out to David for a discount code. Reach out to David at ohDEER for your discount test code. No, but seriously, you think about it, you say, oh boy, that's $200. But you get one of those diseases, some of them can kill you and or permanently cripple you.
Correct.
Or seriously affect you for a long time and may require you to go on some serious antibiotics.
Serious antibiotics. So remove the tick, save it. Whether you save it in tape, just put it on tape, fold it in half, put it in a Ziploc bag, ship it off, do the testing if you want. Call your doctor. Doctor can do a blood test as well to find out if you have it or anything. And yeah, it's an antibiotic for adults. It's when kids get it, they can't give the antibiotic that the adults can get. So it's a longer process for children.
Okay.
It's due daily tick checks.
Yeah, so that's ticks. So what about mosquitoes?
Mosquitoes. So mosquitoes are the most deadly insect in the world.
Really?
Yes.
Beyond like biting spiders and everything?
Yeah, they kill more people in the world than anything else does in a year.
Interesting.
It's because of malaria, all of the crazy diseases in the southern hemisphere that we see.
Right.
Massachusetts, mainly Tripoli, West Nile. Typically, August, September is when we start seeing those pop up.
Yep.
The reason being is it takes infected essential birds the entire season to build a large enough volume of disease in their body, and then it takes a carrier mosquito to then pass it to you or a horse.
Got it.
And then we've got the, stay inside, and we get called into schools or sports facilities to service them so they can.
And it wasn't that long ago, they were flying the DC whatever's over and spraying the entire state, right?
They will do that.
Yeah.
They'll do that without and what we're looking at is whether it's tick and mosquito, if it's tick control or mosquito control, when we're servicing a house, we're only able to control a certain amount of the population.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when the state does that, it's only going to help. It's not going to eliminate everything. It's all helpful and preventative control.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I remember years ago reading a story about when they were building the Panama Canal, and the first thing the guy did that took it over, it was failing because so many people were getting malaria and dying. He went around and made them drain every single water bucket, every piece of standing water, drained every swamp, put, probably back then put motor oil in the water to kill them all, and nobody got sick anymore.
Correct.
So
there are World War II, there are videos of trucks going down the road blasting out pesticides. It's wild what you can actually find about mosquito control.
Yeah.
That was back in World War II era. It kind of went away. And there's now a lot of mosquito products have a smell to them. That's so you're aware of it. And
so it's kind of like an odorant inside of gas.
Yeah, it's somewhat like if you look at the carpet cleaning industry, that used to stink. And then they took away all the smells in carpet cleaning, and people would say, you didn't clean my carpets. Right. It's like, yeah, but the carpet's clean. Then they started introducing like mints and smells back into it. Now it's like, yeah, it's clean again.
Right.
Same concept. The other thing is if you fly over, say, Marshfield or any of like the marsh areas by water, you'll see these like perfect lines in the marshes.
Yeah, they dug those, hand dug those for
mosquito control.
Yeah, to drain the water.
To drain the water. Yeah. So this has been around. It's just now in a liquid spray form that we can do on every property, which is great.
Yeah. And then obviously on the deer control, that's really all you're doing is a non-enticing spray, so they're not enticed to come to that property. They say, this place stinks, I'm going next door because nothing smells over there.
Nothing smells over there. I can feed on that. Yeah. The way in Massachusetts, the carrying capacity is 12 to 15 is what the state is looking for in deer population.
Per what?
Square mile.
15 deer per square mile.
Correct. Outside of 495, west of 495, we've essentially got that. Problem is inside of 495.
There's way more than that.
Oh, it's way more. 36
really?
Per square mile.
Wow. And so that's why you see more and more of them killed on the side of the road.
You see more and more killed on the side of the road. You see more and more plants going down. You see a development going in. Now they're being pushed out into other areas.
And that's because there are no natural predators?
No natural predators. There's no way to control the herd. The state is actively doing things to control this. Their most infamous one right now is the Blue Hill Hunt that they do for 2 weekends a year. And all the deer go and sit at the top of the ski mountain. And they wait until the 2 weeks are over, then they go back down. It's unfortunately not a joke because they've got video.
Yeah, Deermageddon, right? So that's interesting. Yeah, I know. I think last year when they gave out deer permits, weren't they giving like unlimited tags for some, the females.
Certain areas they'll do certain stuff. So we don't hunt.
As a company.
A company, but it is a realistic, reasonable way to control the herd.
Sure. Yeah, there's too many, right? And they lose out their food sources.
They've looked at it as a state to actually, or it's brought up is, can we increase the hunting and then donate the food?
Sure.
And there's no way to do that. So it's kind of like, there's only so much we can hunt. There's only so much time limit we have. But it's going to be a continued issue inside of 495.
Interesting. All right. So now we're going to get to the fun stuff. Fun facts. You can solve a Rubik Cube.
I can.
I did not know that about you.
So here's the good one.
Reasonable amount of time or like 2 days time?
3.5 minutes.
Really?
I was below 2 minutes at one point.
Really?
Shout out to Westfield State College. My first year at college, I went to Westfield, and they had a math class.
Yep.
And it included Rubik's Cube, origami, and Sudoku puzzles.
Yep.
And I said, you know what? I'm not coming back next year. I'm going to a different school. I'm taking that class to have some fun. And I still have it, and I can solve it.
I don't think I ever solved one without peeling the stickers off.
It's, that's one way to do it.
Topics that you're passionate about. Travel.
Absolutely.
And so where's the next travel destination?
Next travel is, so I've got 2 little boys, an 8-year-old and 6-year-old, and we're doing Ireland for a week.
Nice. All right, lightning round. Favorite tool you can't live without, and it can't say your phone.
Favorite tool
you can't live without.
Can it be digital?
It could be anything you want except your phone.
Excel spreadsheet.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, numbers, man.
Industry trends you've noticed globally, not just specific to your industry. What are you seeing out there?
Home services are on the rise. Millennials, Gen X, Gen Z, whatever the order is.
Yeah.
Not interested in swinging a hammer, doing the service. They want to buy their time and be with their family.
Buy back your time. Dream project you'd love to work on?
Dream project? I'd love to work with someone or a company to really get a model off the ground, like from the absolute start of beginning to fruition. Execute the whole entire plan with them.
There you go. Best piece of advice you've ever received?
So I'm going to throw this at Boy Meets World, the TV show from like the 90s.
Sure.
And it's life's hard, get a helmet.
I like that one. Advice you would give your younger self?
Don't sweat about the minor things. Focus on the big end goal.
Okay. If you could have dinner with anyone, alive or dead, who would it be?
Alive or
dead?
Multiple people or just one?
You could give us a little short list if you'd like. We'll give you some latitude.
So I think it would be grandparents and hear their stories and what they kind of went through or why they were where they were.
Sure.
I didn't get to spend a lot of time with all of them, and that would be really cool to see what they were kind of concerned or what got them in the situations.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I never thought of that one. If you had $10 million to donate, what would you donate to?
If I had $10 million to donate.
You know you're going to give it away. You say, you know what, I'm going to take this $10 million, I'm going to give it away.
Yeah, near and dear to my heart, kids with disabilities of some sort, whether it's born with or impacted due to an injury, Spalding Rehab, Boston, something like that.
Okay. All right. And then the final one, fun run. Favorite food and dessert?
Pizza.
And that's
I think that's like food.
And
that's
dessert.
Like dessert.
It's food dessert.
Yeah.
For dessert.
So it's pizza and it's mint chocolate chip ice cream. Like,
what brand?
It has to be green.
Really?
Yes. There's no white mint chocolate chip ice cream.
You understand it's green dye.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's got to be green. I understand. Like, yeah, we don't do dye. Our family, we do our best not to do dyes.
Yeah, right. But when it comes to mint chocolate chip, it's got to be green.
It's got to be green.
And what brand is your favorite right now?
Brigham's is a solid New England.
Can't go wrong there.
No, hard serve.
Yeah, take a close look at the Haagen-Dazs.
Haagen-Dazs.
It is white though.
Yeah, see, but it doesn't have dye, so I might have to. Kerry would be pleased if I did that.
I'm just saying, take a swing by that.
Okay. You didn't ask my favorite, what my dream career would be. Or
All right,
job.
let's do it. So what's your dream career?
Cruise director.
Like the old, what's his name?
Love Boat?
The Love Boat. What was the guy's name that was the cruise director?
I don't know. I haven't watched that many episodes.
Thomas? Julie was the cruise director.
Okay, well, I can fill those shoes, I guess. Yeah, I have a degree in hospitality and tourism, so it's like, get me on a boat. If I can be on a cruise, I think I could hack it, except the long hours.
Right.
I could do the long hours for like a week, and then I'd be like, all right, I gotta take a nap. So you learned something.
I did.
You didn't know that one.
I did. All right, that's a wrap for today's episode of the BuildX Podcast. Thanks to David from ohDEER and Ghost Scoopers for joining us. Please subscribe, like, and share if you've enjoyed it, and see you next week. And remember, Dave, just build, baby.